My alarm sounds waking me up. I turn it off and prepare for the day. After a quick breakfast, I drive to school and head to class.
Good morning, everyone. I have some good news. Because so many of you did well on the pop quiz from last week, we're going to have another one.
You son of a chorus of groans circles around the classroom.
I knew you'd all be excited.
Everyone gradually falls silent as the TAs hand out the quiz. I breeze through the last quiz, and I'll breeze through this one too. Once the paper lands on my desk, I scribble in the correct answers. This material's all stuff I've already learned. After a few minutes, I turn in my completed test to the professor.
Done already? You still have plenty of time if you want to check your work.
Read it and weep. Yep, it's been checked. Professor glances skeptically at my paper, then does a double take as he recognizes my name.
Oh, you're the student who got perfect marks on the last quiz.
I nod. He offers me a smile.
Thank you.
Soon, everyone has turned in their paper.
Everyone awake now? Good. In today's lesson... Class dismissed.
I gather my things and file out of the classroom with everyone else. Once I'm outside, my legs take me towards the hangar. I need to practice. My chat with Akira last Monday has been on my mind ever since. Our team has been on a really good streak, but are we strong enough to beat Akira's team? I swipe myself into the hangar and shake my head free of these thoughts. We have to beat Onobugeisha first. I pass Aura on my way to Eagle and hear others raised in a heated argument. Kaori glances at May, who looks exasperated.
I always have your best interests at heart. That's not true! When have I not? Have you already forgotten about what happened with Ryota?
May looks taken aback.
Really? You're bringing that up? How was I supposed to know he'd react that way? You weren't supposed to tell him at all! Maybe not, but I was trying to help.
Kaori's face contorts in anger.
I was humiliated in front of the entire school! Is that what you call helping? That's not fair. You know that wasn't my intention. And how Ryota handled the situation. Best friends don't treat each other like that. I know.
May falters at Kaori's piercing stare.
Kaori... Well, none of that would have happened in the first place if you had just kept my secret a secret. It was all your fault.
And now Kaori knows the best way to keep a secret is after telling someone, kill them. May blinks rapidly.
I can't talk to you when you're like this. You need some time to calm down. Maybe then you'll listen to reason.
She'll never listen to reason.
Don't you dare!
May spins on her heel and walks away, her footsteps echoing behind her.
May! Ugh!
Kaori lets out a scream of frustration into her hands. As she turns around, she notices me.
How long have you been there?
Long enough to enjoy the show. So let me see if I got this right. May told some big secret of yours to this Ryota guy who humiliated you in front of the whole school. Kaori's eyes widen, then she crosses her arms.
Why were you eavesdropping?
I don't think it counts as eavesdropping when you're shouting louder than all the mechanical whirring in here.
Well, you still shouldn't have listened.
So, what was that about anyway?
It was nothing.
Who's Ryota?
Nobody you know.
Does he go here?
No.
So who is he then?
He is none of your business. Besides, you've already heard all about it when you were listening in on a private conversation.
No, that's not... My phone buzzes. Saved by the bell. Buzz, I guess. Sorry, I better get this. Kaori nods. She looks just as relieved as I am. I accept the call and walk further away from Kaori. Hello.
Hey!
Hi, Yuuna.
I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time.
No, this is perfect.
Okay, so your account manager with Dasshu reached out to me. He'll be close to campus later today and would like to meet with you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure what everyone's schedules look like.
Wait, he wants to meet with just you.
Uh-huh. I'll bet he wants to get to know me better. Does he want to get to know me better?
Yeah.
That's flattering, but he's not really my type.
What?
What?
He wants to learn more about your gear.
Oh, so not me.
Well, I guess some of it is about you, but mostly it'll be about Eagle.
Why do I feel a little disappointed by that? Eagle?
He's impressed by how well your gear has been able to hold out against some of the newer models. So, will you meet him?
Sure.
Great! You can meet him at the cafe after lunch.
Alright, I'll be there. Thanks, Yuuna.
No problem.
After saying goodbye, she hangs up. By the time I end the call, Kaori is nowhere in sight. That's probably for the best, honestly. Our chat didn't end on such a great note. Since I came here to practice, I climbed into Eagle and started up a simulated match. After I've practiced a few rounds, I shut down the simulators and climb out of Eagle. I can tell my reaction times are improving. I'm sure with a little more practice, I'll be ready to face Onibugeisha. Since I have some extra time, how do I want to spend the rest of my afternoon? So, I'm just gonna leave her for show. We'll see how this plays out. So yes, Mayu has now been eliminated from the running. I was browsing a list of clubs and classes earlier, and Ace offers a cooking club. I remember Nikki mocking me, saying I should join when she first started her club, but maybe that isn't such a bad idea. The look on her face would be priceless if I offered to cook and it was edible. I'll go check it out. The cooking class is held in the Culinary building. I enter a classroom filled with multiple cooking stations already set up with ingredients. It kinda reminds me of a chemistry lab, but with stoves and ovens. In the corner of the room, I spot Yuuna and claim the station beside her. Hey, Yuuna. She blinks in surprise.
Oh, hey! Are you part of the cooking club?
No, I'm just dropping in today.
Me too! What brings you here?
I'd like to make a meal for Nikki.
That's really nice of you. I'm sure she'll appreciate it.
No, she won't. I hope so. She's a whiz in the kitchen. What about you? What brings you here?
Since I quit the SBA,
What?
I've got a lot of extra time, so I've been trying out some of the other clubs Ace offers.
When did you quit the SBA?
Right around when I got Dasshu as your sponsor.
Her voice holds the edge of finality. It's clear she doesn't want to talk about this further. Anything catch your interest?
A couple, but I'm still weighing my options. Besides, it's fun trying new things.
The student instructor arrives and everyone breaks away from their conversations and stand at their stations.
Welcome, everyone!
He goes into a short message explaining who he is and the rules and structure of the club.
Now that that's out of the way, today we will be learning how to make kasutera. If you haven't already done so, please put on your aprons.
I have no idea what this is, so don't ask me. I slip off my blazer and tie the apron around my waist.
First, we will preheat the oven to 160 degrees. And don't forget to line your pan with parchment paper.
Isn't that a little low? Oh, right, it's in Celsius.
For our dry ingredients, we will have 1 cup and 2.5 tablespoons of bread flour and 1 cup of sugar. The wet ingredients will have 6 eggs and 5 tablespoons of honey diluted with 2.5 tablespoons of water.
So does anyone actually want to try making this? At least there aren't that many ingredients. As instructed, I measure out the ingredients. Wait, I forgot to preheat the oven. What temperature should it be? Ah, they make it too easy. I preheat the oven to 160 degrees. The instructor continues to provide instructions, and I follow as best as I can. While whisking the eggs, my gaze wanders over to Yuuna. She's carefully pouring flour into her measuring cup and leveling it off before dumping it into the bowl. Her tongue sticks out slightly as she concentrates. I try to hold back a chuckle while she glances at me. There's a smudge of flour on her cheek, and I can't hold back my smile. She matches my grin before turning back to her ingredients. I refocus on my own station and add the sugar. The only thing left to add is the honey. How much water do I use to dilute the honey? I add 2.5 tablespoons of water. You know, I'm kind of tempted to actually intentionally mess up the next one to see what it's like.
Once you add the last of your flour, mix the ingredients until combined. Be careful not to overmix. Pour the batter into your pan and let it bake for 35 minutes.
As instructed, I add the last of my flour to the mixture and continue to mix it. What counts as overmixing anyway? How do I know if I mixed just the right amount or too much? Using my wooden spoon, I poke around to see if there are any flour chunks still left. Nope. I guess that means my batter is ready to go in the oven. I set the timer for 35 minutes. Now, just to wait and see. Once Once my timer dings, I carefully remove the cake from the oven. It baked unevenly, so some of the side is spilling over the pan. I think it might be a little darker on one side, too. Does that mean it's burned? I guess only one way to find out. I pry it out of the pan. That's already a bad sign. I pry it out of the pan and put it on my plate. Some of the edges got stuck to the parchment paper when I removed it, so there are patches of yellow exposed under the darkish brown layer. Yuuna carefully sets her cake on her plate. It's a perfect loaf with a golden brown top and light yellow sides. She glances over at my cake and hides her smile with a cough. The instructor begins his taste test in my row at the back of the classroom. He reaches me before Yuuna.
It didn't quite come out the way you expected, did it? But let's see how it tastes.
I wouldn't recommend that. He puts a forkful of cake in his mouth. His eyes light up in a smile.
This is absolutely delightful!
Really?
Let me try.
You must have no taste buds left. Yuuna stands right beside me, staring curiously at my cake. She tries a small piece.
Oh, wow. This is so good.
Liar. I beam. Nikki is going to be so surprised. The instructor stops at Yuuna's station next.
This is a beautiful cake! I can't wait to see how it tastes.
Yuuna's face lights up in anticipation as the instructor takes a bite. He pauses, straining to keep his face calm, then gulps heavily.
How is it?
Her voice trembles with hope. The instructor's voice is hoarse as he chokes out his next words.
Practice makes perfect.
What?
Let me try. I take a bite.
How is it?
It's like if sugar and plaster had a baby together and let it sit out in the sun until every drop of moisture was baked out of it. How do I put this nicely? Practice makes perfect.
Again? Can it really be so bad?
Yuuna grabs her fork and stuffs a piece in her mouth. She grimaces, then sighs deeply.
Practice does make perfect.
The instructor moves on to another station while Yuuna pouts at her rejected cake. Well, aside from the result of your baking, what did you think of this class?
It was fun, but surprisingly challenging.
She glances at her cake again and mutters under her breath.
Where did I go wrong?
You going to stick with this as your new extracurricular activity?
I don't know. I want to keep checking out other clubs.
Makes sense.
It looks like other students are trying each other's cakes. You want to try some?
Sure. Yuuna and I walk around the room and try some of the other cakes with varying results. Once we tasted all of them, we head out. I make my way towards the cafe to meet with our account manager from Dasshu. I try to anticipate what kind of questions he'll ask about Eagle so I can have answers ready. Yuuna said this wasn't an interview, but I still want to make a good impression. As I enter the cafe, I sweep my gaze across the room and spot a man wearing a Dasshu jacket. That must be him. After ordering a cup of coffee, I walk over to greet him. Hello. The man faces me, and I'm surprised by how young he looks. He only seems to be a couple of years older than us. I'm Hiro, the pilot for Eagle from Ace 204911. He smiles and gestures to the seat across from him. I accept the seat.
Thanks for meeting me on such short notice. As I'm sure you know, I'm Yuri Ariev, your account manager with Dasshu.
Must not make joke. The waitress places our drinks on the table. He takes a sip from his drink and seems pleasantly surprised. That must be some good coffee.
I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I am curious about a few things.
About Eagle.
Eagle?
He looks genuinely confused. I guess my intel was incorrect.
No. About Hyperdrive.
Hyperdrive? That was the team I played for at CINY. Looks like Yuri did his homework on me. Sure, ask away. I'll try to answer the best I can. He smiles.
I am more interested about the team and sponsorship dynamics in the West. I've researched that companies have official teams in the school rather than just sponsoring a different team from time to time.
I nod. That's right.
Hyperdrive is an S-ranked division team at CINY. That's quite the accomplishment. I can see why you transferred it to Ace with a history like that.
What can I say? I'm a natural. Really, it was pretty easy to be honest. Yuri grins.
Very confident. Interesting. What were your teammates like?
Hyperdrive had about 20 pilots on the team. I didn't first sip from his coffee.
Ah, yes. I've heard the official company teams tend to recruit purely from an efficiency and winning standpoint. There's even internal competition within the team to see who are the strongest pilots.
I nod.
Which means your solo rank must have been strong if you were the primary backup after the starting 4.
Yeah, although I can't say everyone was pleased with the first year being a primary backup. Yuri chuckles.
I take it the more senior members of the team weren't pleased.
Yep, because of that, most of the people I consider to be close were other first years. Not some of the seniors who are already on the starting lineup would help me train.
Sounds like there was a very split dynamic among the team, which is not surprising given how large it is. It's hard to foster close camaraderie when everyone competes for the same spots.
There were definitely a lot of cliques that formed within the group. I tried to stay away from any drama and was just focused on bringing up my rank.
How well do you think that model works compared to the model here?
I pause. The pressures are different, but I do believe smaller teams make more efficient teams. You're more invested in your personal training and development, not because there is a looming pressure that someone is just a number away from replacing you, but because you're an important member of your team. And of course, you end up fostering closer relationships with your teammates. But the whole sponsorship process here is incredibly imbalanced. Yuri nods understandingly. Honestly, I'm grateful you agreed to sponsor us. We were rejected a few times before, and Yuuna was really disappointed by how unwilling most companies were to consider us.
Your team at ACE is a little unique. Even though you guys are an S-rank division team, because you're a new team with no history of performance, you're also considered high risk.
High risk?
Yeah, it's hard to gauge whether your team is a strong up-and-comer or if your entry into this division was a fluke. Most companies don't like that uncertainty.
If that's the case, how come you decided to take that risk? He grins.
I know good talent when I see it. If I'd been too afraid to take risks, I never would have landed Yuuna. When I signed him on, he was a new pilot but already showed so much potential.
He looks wistful.
What happened to him was tragic. The least I could do is to help his sister, especially after seeing how his death affected her.
Wait, what happened?
You don't know?
He falters.
You should probably talk to Yuuna.
Oh, sure. An uncomfortable silence settles while we both sip at our drinks. Once he downs the last of his coffee, he checks his phone and smiles politely.
I have to run to another meeting. Thanks again for stopping in to chat with me, and I'm sure we'll see each other soon.
Thanks. It was nice to meet you. I say my goodbye and take another sip of my drink as I watch him leave. What happened to Yuna's brother? How come she never mentioned him to me? Questions race through my mind, but I clear them away as I finish my drink. I shouldn't drive myself crazy thinking about questions I don't have the answers to. Next time I see Yuuna, I'll ask. In the meantime, I still have time before I go home. What should I do to clear my mind? We'll give Kaori one more chance before we... well, we'll see. The match against Onobugeisha lingers in my mind. I've watched some replays of their post-matches, and they are predominantly a melee-oriented team. My best practice against them would be practice with Kaori and Aura. She doesn't answer when I call, but I make my way to the hangar anyway. When I arrive, I see Kaori's already in a simulation match. No wonder she's not answering her phone. After grabbing her attention, she agrees to play against me. I boot up Eagle and enter into a simulation with Aura. Aura thrusts forward with an aggressive stab. Juke City. I easily dodge her attack, her gear loses balance and stumbles forward. Eagle uses counterattack. It's super effective. Aura has fainted. Has been depowered.
Again!
Sadly, I was gonna make all those jokes on my own, but apparently they're part of the game. Kaori's frustration is audible through the comm. This marks her 4th consecutive loss. She's playing too aggressively and not planning out any tactics. Let's take a break.
No! We need to keep practicing.
This isn't really practice for me. Yeah, I don't know if these duels can really be considered training.
What's that supposed to mean?
Look at the scoreboard and you tell me. Anyways, I didn't say I wouldn't do more matches. Let's just take a small break to recharge and we'll continue.
Okay, fine.
Aura disconnects from our virtual simulation. I do the same, then hop out of my cockpit and reconvene with Kaori at her gear. Her arms are crossed and she has a sour look on her face. Kaori? She looks up at me. I'm not sure what that was all about, but we can't have that happen in a real match.
You think I don't know that?
She looks annoyed but sighs anyway.
It's just, we absolutely can't lose to Ona Bugiesha.
What's the big deal anyway? What's so important about beating May's team?
It's nothing to do with May.
I blink at her heated reaction. I never said it did.
With Strike X being disqualified from our original match, we have a rare chance to really jump our rating if we beat Ona Bugiesha.
That makes a lot of sense. Our MMR will get a hefty boost if we win. I'm not fully convinced that's the only reason, but she does have a point. Then we'll give it our all. Kaori nods. Her spirits seem to be lifted. I'm glad we got that sorted out. Kaori nods, but can't quite hide her yawn. She covers her mouth, and after taking another look at her, I notice bags under her eyes. Looks like she used makeup to cover it up so I wouldn't notice. Kaori wears makeup? Oh, I can't believe I never noticed you wear makeup. Kaori is caught off guard.
What? Huh? Why does it even... Why are you even bringing that up?
No, don't get me wrong, you look great.
Stop looking at me like that.
Like what? My thoughts are innocent and pure.
Like how they are.
She slugs me in the arm. Her face is super red. Ow. Why do you always resort to violence?
I have to with idiots like you.
She spins around before I can say anything else.
Anyway, let's go back to practicing.
Okay. We head back into our gears and load up another simulation match. Kaori is more focused than before, no longer making such rash decisions. Ultimately, we end up getting a solid training session from our duels. Before long, it becomes late and we say our goodbyes before heading home. As I enter the house, I hear soft giggles coming from the living room. A tuft of blonde hair peeks over the couch. Another wave of giggles flows from the couch, but ceases abruptly as I step closer. Nikki hangs up the phone and turns around to greet me.
Hi, big bro.
I plop down next to her. Who was that guy? Her eyes grow wide.
How did you know I was a guy?
Just stare at her. I continue to look at her.
What?
Do I really need to answer that? So who was it?
No one.
Doesn't sound like no one.
Just a classmate.
I reach around and grab Nikki's phone while she's distracted.
No, give it back!
She screams in my ears as she leaps over me, reaching towards her phone. I fend her off and keep the phone away from her grasping hands. As she continues to struggle, I worm my way off the couch and flip through her call list before she can scramble to her feet. The last dialed number is to a Ken. What kind of weird Japanese name is Ken? Nikki snatches the phone up right as I speak, then pummels my chest with her fists.
Oh my god, you are such a jerk.
Is he even a real person?
Of course he is.
But his name is Ken.
You're the worst.
She hits me hard one last time before turning on her heel and storming upstairs. When she's halfway to the top, she pauses.
And by the way, Ken means strong in Japanese.
Nikki stomps into her room and slams the door. Oh yeah. Oops. Still, Ken? I hear laughter. Is that me? Did I just laugh out loud? Kaido's leaning against the doorway behind me, a broad smile on his face. I jump when I see him. First Akira and now Kaido. How is everyone always sneaking up on me?
That's good. Ken is a funny name. It's like... Yen!
He continues laughing at his joke, then gradually calms down.
Why does your face look like that?
Like what? I always look like this.
No, like this.
He mimics a look of cringing and disbelief. I don't... what? I should go do my homework.
Good idea. Get smart.
I slowly head towards the stairs, still unsure about what just happened. As I walk up the steps, I can still hear faint chuckles from Kaito and the echoes of Ken Yen. Since I was already in my room, I caught up on studying until it was time for sleep.